In a world surrounded with effulgence, we miss the dollops of darkness in our own soul. A poem is often our entry to our own truths. This is Sunil Bhandari, and you are listening to Uncut Poetry. Darkness. Into your darkness I enter to find my own light, ready to lose the effulgence of a million dawns. Is this the only road of love? We both broke glass to see our faces in the splinters. In the shadows we were beautiful, and here's where we intended to stay. How peculiar was this half-light? We fed our love with anarchy, dopamine, our drug of choice. It was only later that we realized that love can be a suction of life. How benumbing was the starlight. And as we made love on a bed of shards, my despair soiled your flawless skin. Where I poured myself into you, there was only blood which remained. Life, you said, was catching up with love. We parted ways, stepped into penumbra, learning to see laws as our Kaaba. We saw each other as blessings in passing, even as the light injured with its sad candor. Our love was a cemetery with unmarked graves. Our love was a cemetery with unmarked graves. Of course, relationships have rules. The fact that we are animals plus a more evolved species only recognizes the fact that humans are feeling, trusting, hurting beings. And in the depth of that reality lies the fact of what makes us much more than merely sentient. Alas, there are also transient feelings which gatecrash this party of commitments. Because beneath the veneer of manicured gardens are also wild roses desperate to break free. Because relationships are intrinsically a riddle of staying tied and breaking free, of committing and struggling to keep commitments, of staying steady to a promise and getting drunk to a vision. Is it the challenge of a temptation or the end of a search? Is it a conflict you are searching for or an existential crisis our heart is seeking to resolve? We are lucky if our promise to ourselves, to a loved one, also brings in a concomitant connect which evolves, is elastic to change, sensitive to conflict, kind to intransigence. There's always the reality of returning home, or the wreckage we leave in the wake of our uncertain hearts. In a world where nothing is fixed, we seem like perpetrators, but often are no more than victims. In a world of shifting loyalties and drifting moral codes, of seeking ways to fill the holes in our souls, of deciding to live in half-lights of incomplete satisfaction in places of permanent twilight under the summer noon, we find the best ways to find love and life. We are lucky if we get it on first try, or we remain seekers in a relationship crumbling to touch. Irrespective of what we do with our body, we have already drifted. Our hearts have found nooks to rest. Our thoughts have found spaces to withdraw. For a promise made, we have already compromised with the only life we have been bestowed. This is Sunil Bhandari, and you are listening to Uncut Poetry. If you enjoyed this poem, rate it on Spotify or leave a comment on Apple Podcast. And I have a lovely newsletter called The Uncuts, which is like a Sunday dollop of warmth and fun and beauty. subscribe to it. The link is in the show notes. And if you loved this episode, please do share it with someone you love. See you next week.